What is up, Dallas Cowboys Nation? Welcome into a Monday Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz right here on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCar Timm, and if you're hearing me, it is bright and early Monday morning, and that means you survived the weekend. Congratulations to you. Hopefully that was the goal, was to survive the weekend. And now we arrive on Monday, another week of Cowboys training camp in the books. And what are some of the things we're talking about? Well, we talked about Jay-Sean, and as I now recently found out the pronunciation of his last name, I think we've all been saying Barham. We found out on Friday that he prefers Barham. So he will be Barham from this point forward, as long as I can remember that. But we're coming in talking about a veteran, a guy that's been here for a little while. And I think suddenly the Cowboys might have a very crowded safety room, with Malik Hooker being the veteran maybe with the most to lose here. He missed Saturday's training camp practice for what Coach Brian Schottenheimer described as personal reasons. Now, there's no indication that this is injury-related, and that's important considering that the Cowboys have already dealt with their share of injuries here early in camp. But Hooker showing up on the absence list should get our attention, because I think there's a much bigger storyline developing here. Well, excuse me. Because when Malik Hooker comes back, where is he going to fit on this Cowboys defense? And let me preface this by saying that I'm a big Malik Hooker fan. Obviously, I'm choked up about it. I'm a big Malik Hooker fan. I was a guy a year ahead of time begging the Cowboys to sign Malik Hooker. And I thought it took him too long to do it. But he's here, and now his future apparently in question. Because Dallas did not spend the offseason treating the safety position like it was fine. They attacked it very aggressively. They brought in Jalen Thompson. They added P.J. Locke. And then maybe they made their biggest statement of all by drafting Caleb Downs, number 11 overall. You don't draft the safety 11th overall so that he can work his way into the rotation. Caleb Downs is here to play. And eventually, this Cowboys secondary, maybe this entire defense is going to be built around him. And this creates a fascinating situation for Malik Hooker. He's 30 years old. He agreed to a retooled one-year deal worth $5 million back in March. And at the time, it looked like the Cowboys were bringing back a trusted veteran for another season to be an integral part of this defense. And that might still be exactly what it is. I don't know. But that contract doesn't guarantee Hooker anything, much less a major role in this defense. It doesn't even guarantee that he's going to start. And it certainly does not guarantee that he's got a future here beyond 2026. And that's what makes this next few weeks of camp, I think, so interesting, because Hooker has something Dallas still needs desperately: experience, leadership, and communication. The ability to get everybody lined up correctly in the secondary. And those things are more valuable than you think when you've got a new defensive coordinator and a new system and a lot of young players on that side of the ball. But Dallas has also created this offseason something that it hasn't always had at safety, and that's options. Jalen Thompson returned Saturday after dealing with his own injury issues. P.J. Locke is here, and he's a veteran. Caleb Downs is bringing elite upside to this whole thing. And younger defensive backs are now trying to earn snaps on defense and on special teams. And suddenly, Malik Hooker isn't just preparing for this upcoming season. He might be competing to reestablish himself in the pecking order. And here's the uncomfortable question, a question that I didn't expect to talk about entering this offseason. Is Malik Hooker actually competing for a roster spot? I think that Malik being gone would be a very aggressive move by the Cowboys. Because remember, this defense has already taken some hits. On Saturday, you didn't have Barham, you didn't have Childress, Devin Moore, Jonathan Bullard, all unavailable. Overshone has been dealing with leg soreness. Princeton Fant, gone for the season, ACL. So when injuries start to stack up like this, experienced NFL players become pretty valuable. So cutting a veteran defensive back who's played meaningful football for you in recent years isn't something Dallas would do very casually. But I think there's another side to this too. The Cowboys clearly did not rebuild this safety room based on loyalty or sentiment. They wanted more competition. They wanted visibility. Christian Parker is going to decide who fits his defense here the best, regardless of if that's somebody who was here before or not. And that's the biggest thing to remember here. Every time a team changes defensive coordinators, the depth chart is going to get shaken up. Players who were automatically starters before and maybe were penciled in, they've got to prove themselves all over again. It's a whole different deal. Different coordinators value different skill sets. Maybe Parker wants more interchangeability between his safeties. Maybe he wants downs moving all over the formation. Maybe Thompson becomes a significant piece here. Maybe P.J. Locke gets more snaps than we thought he would. If all of those things happen, Hooker's role is going to shrink very, very quickly. And if Hooker makes his roster, which I still think is the most likely outcome here, this could very easily be his final season with the Cowboys. Dallas is transitioning. Caleb Downs is the new thing here. Soon to be the centerpiece of this defense. Malik Hooker might represent the old look of this Cowboys defense. Those transitions happen very, very quickly in the NFL. So the next major checkpoint here becomes on August 11th when the Cowboys head into their joint practice with the Rams. Those practices will matter. You're getting starter-level competition, different offensive concepts, different receivers, different quarterbacks. And coaches get to see how their players react when they're no longer lining up against teammates whose tendencies they probably already know. And for Hooker, assuming he's back, that's another opportunity to remind Christian Parker and Brian Schottenheimer exactly why Dallas has trusted him for all of these years. Because for me, there's no question Malik Hooker can still help this football team. The question is how much Dallas still needs him now that the safety room is completely evolved. The Cowboys wanted competition. They wanted depth. They wanted options. Well, they've got all of those things now. And when you have this many options, somebody's going to get squeezed. Malik Hooker probably isn't fighting for his NFL career, but he may very well be fighting for his place on the Cowboys roster and his place in the Cowboys' future. And that makes safety one of the most interesting positions to watch as the Cowboys training camp rolls deeper into August. It's going to do it for us today, boys and girls. What do you guys think about this whole thing? What do you guys think about Malik Hooker and his role here going into the offseason or going into the rest of training camp, going into the scrimmages with the Rams and the Saints, going into preseason? I think Malik Hooker's been a good dude here. I think he's played very, very well in his time here. But as I said, transition brings change, and the Cowboys are definitely in a transition right now. You guys make sure you subscribe, follow for more Cowboys news, reaction, and analysis every single weekday at 7 a.m. right here on the Cowboys Daily Blitz on FanStream Sports. Live on YouTube later the same day, wherever you get your podcasts, and always on demand at fanstreamsports.com. Until tomorrow, boys and girls, we'll see you.